Welcome to the Roy Morgan Weekly Update. First today, how are Australian directors feeling? Roy Morgan's survey of 828 company directors conducted for the AICD, that's the Australian Institute of Company Directors, found 84% of directors say there will be interest rate rises in the next 6 months. 41% believe current Reserve Bank monetary settings will cause a major uptick in business insolvencies. 43% say productivity is the number one issue for the federal government to address short term, followed by housing supply and affordability, 33%, and taxation reform, 31%. 51% think more skilled migration could help lift productivity. Now that's a drop though from 59% in the previous survey. And 68% of directors say regulatory and compliance requirements are limiting productivity growth in their business. 73% believe a major deregulation agenda would strengthen Australia's productivity and economic growth. So for further details, head to the AICD website. So how are Australian people feeling? ANZ Roy Morgan Consumer Confidence was virtually unchanged this week at 64.3. This is still the fourth lowest reading for consumer confidence since the series began more than 50 years ago. So to put this into perspective, a majority, 57% of Australians, say that they're worse off financially than a year ago. Only 15% say they're better off. As for next year, 45% expect to be worse off financially this time next year. Only 21% expect to be better off. And views on the Australian economy are even weaker and declined this week, with the majority of 53% expecting bad times for the economy over the next 12 months. Just 4% expect good times. And 33% expect bad times for the economy over the next 5 years. Only 6% expect good times. Clearly many don't know what to expect, or opt for some good times and some bad times. Now, amidst uncertainty about the war and the consequential flow through to prices, there was a renewed spike in Australians' worries about inflation. ANZ Roy Morgan inflation expectations increased 0.4% to 7.1%. This means Australians expect annual inflation of 7.1% in each of the next 2 years. That's near the record high of 7.3% that we saw in late March. There was a slight recovery for Roy Morgan government confidence, with 26.5% of electors believing the country's going in the right direction, but a majority, 59.5%, still say the country's going in the wrong direction, albeit that wrong direction is down 1%. So overall, Roy Morgan government confidence rating was up 1.5 points to just 67, still more than 30 points below the neutral level of 100. Now to the Roy Morgan poll, which shows the two major parties consolidating while One Nation lost support. ALP primary support at 30.5% was up 0.5%. The LNP coalition at 23% was up 0.5%. Due to an increase in Nationals, they were up 0.5% to 3.5%. Liberals were unchanged on 19.5%. One Nation primary support was down 3% to 21.5%. The Greens were up 1% to 13.5%, and independents and other parties were up 1% to 11.5%. Now, despite the movements in primary vote, the federal two-party preferred result is virtually unchanged. ALP 55.5% ahead of the coalition 44.5%, based on how electors said they would vote or allocate their preferences. If a federal election were held now, the ALP would be returned to government with a large majority, according to interviewing conducted from April 13 to 19, with a representative Australia-wide cross-section of 1,620 electors. Now, a special Channel 7 Roy Morgan SMS Pulse poll conducted on the weekend looked at Australians' views on the visit of Prince Harry and Meghan last week. The results were featured on a special Channel 7 program on Sunday night, linked down below. Importantly, more than 80% of Australians knew Harry and Meghan were here, 82%, or 18.1 million people to be exact. For those who did know they were here, Roy Morgan asked a series of questions about the impact of the visit. 81% said Prince Harry and Meghan's visit to Australia did not improve their opinion of them. 87% did not think the visit will help Prince Harry repair his relationship with the King. Australians were evenly divided on whether the Queen would have approved of the trip, with 51% saying no and 49% saying yes. And a majority of 59% said they would not welcome Prince Harry and Meghan moving to Australia after this trip. Of course, 41% would. Now, to learn more about who holds these views, visit the Roy Morgan website. And looking forward to next week, I'll be back to bring you the latest data for consumer confidence, inflation expectations, and the latest voting intention for both Victoria and Australia. Thanks for listening. See you next week.